Welcome to A Change of Heart podcast. I'm your host, Angel Jackson. And in this space, we do life together, we grow together, and we heal together. And sometimes that leads to a change of heart. Hey everyone, welcome back to A Change of Heart podcast. I'm your host, Angel. And if you're joining me for the first time, hey girl, welcome to the body. And if you're a returning listener, hey girl, hey, welcome back. Today we are going to be talking about staying the course. As you all know, over the last couple of weeks, we have been heavily focused on pursuing purpose, living a life that is fully poured out, and really just doing the things that we are on this earth to do. And so I'm excited for today's topic. But before we get into that, girl, let me tell you something. So first things first, if you haven't listened to last week's episode, Surrendering the Process, go back and listen to that, because at the end of it, I shared that we are doing a 7-day challenge of surrendering to the process. So surrendering to discipline, being surrendered to being consistent, surrendering our plans for ourselves. And so that is starting this coming Monday, April 15th. I will be sharing information. So if you want to sign up for it and you have not already, make sure that you click the link below. It'll be in the description box of my YouTube channel as well as the show notes if you're listening. So make sure that you join us as we go through this 7-day challenge of really just being intentional about surrendering to the process and not allowing ourselves to be frustrated by it. So let me tell y'all what we're really here for. But let me tell you something. I have been playing this song on repeat since it was released on Friday. And let me tell you something. This thing here is, I don't even fully have the words to even begin to say how good this song is. If you have not already listened to this song called The Outpour, it's on Amanda Pittman's channel, but you can search Confident Worship, The Outpour on Apple Music, Spotify, all of that, and you'll be able to find it. But when I tell you this song, it is so good. Like, I literally have not been able to stop listening to it. And it really is just, it's just one of those songs that really is like a heart cry song. And I love that kind of worship. So definitely go and check that out, because it's something very special about that song. So that is my girl, let me tell you something, because it's too good not to share. All right, so let's go ahead and get into today's topic on staying the course. I feel like a lot of times whenever we have a good idea, a God idea, something that we know that we're supposed to be doing, something that we want to pursue, there's always this excitement in the beginning, right? There's always this motivation. You're ready to go and start. You're ready to do the thing. However, as time goes by, as life happens, as you encounter different things, it can be very easy to lose sight of that initial excitement that you had. And it can be very easy to end up not staying the course just because of all of these different outside factors. And so as we are really being intentional this year about being who God created us to be, walking in that authenticity and really just pursuing purpose, I want to encourage you all to stay the course, because I know how easy it is to get off track. I know how easy it is to get distracted, but I really do feel this pressing to be intentional about the things that we're supposed to be doing in this season. Like, there's an urgency for that. And so I want to encourage you, as you are doing the things, as you are pursuing whatever it is that God has told you to. And I always want to clarify this, because when I say doing the things, pursuing the thing that God has told you to, it does not always have to be something that is for someone else. It doesn't always have to be something that requires an announcement. It very well can be something that He is calling you to do that is specific to you. And that is a necessity as well. So I don't want people to check out when I'm talking about pursuing purpose, pursuing the things that God has called them to do, to make them feel like, well, I'm not doing anything, or I don't feel like I'm supposed to be starting anything right now. Whether it's your health journey, whether it's being intentional about your spiritual journey, whether it's taking care of your mental health, whatever it might be, whatever it is that you feel a pressing, this thing that you cannot shake, that you have to do in this season, I want to encourage you to stay the course. So with that, the first thing that I want to talk about today is, it is necessary for you to be in alignment in this season. I know that life can happen, things go on, and it can be very easy to be distracted. It can be very easy to lose sight of things that you were supposed to do, but it is necessary for you to get into alignment. I was looking at some of the signs that you may need an alignment on your car. And one of the things is that you may feel that your car is like pulling you one direction or the other. So maybe pulling you to the right or pulling you to the left instead of staying on the path. So instead of staying straight, it's pulling you in a different direction or the opposite direction. And this is necessary for us to consider when we're talking about being in alignment, because for some of you, the reason why you are not able to fully pursue the thing that God has placed on the inside of you, why you're not fully pursuing purpose right now, is because you have too many distractions or too many things that are trying to steer you to the left or the right when God is trying to keep you on the straight path. A lot of times we'll talk about how we're not disciplined enough, how we're not consistent enough, how we are not motivated, all of these different things. But here's the reality: you are utilizing your time doing something. Even if you may not be putting it towards the thing that you know you're supposed to be working on, your God project, the thing that God has given you a vision for, we all are utilizing our time in some way. And if we were to sit back and take the time to look at what are the things that I'm doing that I am spending time on, I'm not even going to say wasting time because everything isn't a waste, but what are the things that I'm doing that I'm spending time on that I could be committing to doing something else or doing the thing that I'm supposed to? And a lot of times we feel like we don't have discipline, focus, motivation, whatever it might be, when in reality, you're just mismanaging your time and you need to get back into alignment because you've allowed all of the other things that you're giving your energy to, that you're giving your focus to. You're allowing all of those other things to steer you in a different direction other than the path that you're supposed to be on to fulfill the purpose that God has called you to in this season. We cannot afford to be out of alignment. We cannot afford to be distracted by all of these other little things that we miss the bigger picture that is straight ahead in front of us. And I want to encourage you, when I say get into alignment, for some of you, that means you need to reconnect with God. You need to reconnect that quality time with Him, spending time like that one-on-one with Him, praying, fasting, worshiping, reading your word, devotion. You need to reconnect in that sense. For some of you, it really is about lifestyle changes. You need to do a complete 180 as far as your health, what you're eating, working out, taking care of your body, taking care of your mental. For some of you, it's going to therapy and really allowing yourself to heal this time versus allowing all of these other things to distract you from the thing that you're actually supposed to be doing. When we talk about getting into alignment, we have to understand that it's necessary because we can't afford to continue to be distracted from our purpose. We can't afford to continue to allow things that ain't even got nothing to do with our purpose to hinder us from actually fulfilling that thing. And I want to encourage you, as you are desiring to get into alignment and to get back into the place that you're supposed to be in, to be willing to shed it all, to be willing to let go of what you need to let go of, to be willing to say yes to the things that you don't feel like saying yes to, and say no to the things that you may not really want to, but you know that it's necessary for you to get to your next. I don't want you to miss what God is doing in this season because you are attached to things that don't have nothing to do with your purpose. I don't want you to miss what God is doing in this season because you have allowed other things to shift your focus to the left or right, that you miss what He has that is right in front of you. We cannot afford to be distracted in this season. We have to stay the course. The next thing that I want to encourage you with in staying the course is to be committed to seeing things through. I mentioned last week, one thing I will do is I will quit, okay? One thing I will do is give up if something is too hard or if I don't feel like doing it. And that is something that I am really trying to challenge myself in this season specifically, because here's what we have to understand. And I've said this before and I will continue to say it. We have to stop looking at opposition as always being a factor that we need to stop or that this isn't what we're supposed to be doing. A lot of times, because you are walking in purpose, because you are doing the thing that you're supposed to, it is going to be very easy to quit. Opposition is going to come. There are going to be things that don't work out. There are going to be things that fall through. There are going to be plans that you have, and it looks completely different than how things are actually are. But you have to get to a place where you are saying, I'm going to be committed to this thing, and I'm going to see it all the way through. A lot of times we will quit when we are so close to being at the end of something, but we don't realize it because it feels like we're so far away. And you have to understand that your vision is limited. Your vision is always limited for the things that God has called you to, because He obviously has the full picture. He has the big picture. And a lot of times He will not give you the full big picture because you'd mess it up. And I say you, and I'm talking about me too. It's like, we may want to know all of the steps, but the truth of the matter is, if we were able to see the plan that God has from us from point A to point Z, and we were able to see, oh, at D, you're going to face some opposition. At F, it's going to feel like a setback, but you're still going in the right direction. It would encourage us, possibly, but it also could deter us. It also could make us feel like, well, this is too hard. This is too much. I don't want to do this. It's too much work. You have to get to a place where you are committed to see things through. Some of you quit too easily. And I always say the message is the messenger first. So as I'm sharing that with you, I'm also speaking to myself. Some of you quit too easily. You give up just because it's hard. You give up because it requires more. You give up because it makes you uncomfortable. You give up because you start to feel tension or you start to feel opposition. And I want to encourage you to be willing to see things through. There's a song at my church that our worship team sings called "In the River," and it's a part where they say, it's not just ankle deep, waist deep, all the way in. And that's how we got to be in this season. We can't just say that we're going to do something, but we're only going to put our pinky toe in. You got to be all the way in. And I want to challenge you, as you are considering, thinking about, wanting to start to pursue purpose and start to pursue the thing that God has placed on the inside of you. I want you, one, to consider the cost, because everything comes with a cost. There's a cost to fulfill the purpose, and there's also a cost not to. We got to take that into consideration. But I also want you to consider that as I'm saying yes, as I'm giving my yes to pursuing the thing that I know that I'm supposed to, I'm going to be committed to being all the way in this time. Even when I mess up, I'm going to get back up. I'm going to figure it out, and I'm going to put one foot in front of the other, and I'm going to keep on going. Even when I have some things that this don't make sense over here, or this is confusing, this is not what I signed up for, I'm going to keep going. I want us to be women who are resilient. I want us to be women who are willing to persevere beyond the test, who are willing to persevere beyond opposition. When things get hard, we figure it out. When things don't go as planned, we pivot. When things start to look a little shifty, a little crazy, we pray and we ask for direction. I want us to be women who are intentional about seeing this thing through to the end. We have to learn how to stay the course. It's very easy to quit. It's very easy to give up, but it takes something on the inside of you to say that I'm going to do this thing regardless of what it is that I face, regardless of the opposition that I may deal with. I know I'm called to this. I know that there are people who are attached to me fulfilling this thing, and I can't let up on it. I can't stop just because I don't know how it's going to happen. I can't stop just because it don't look the way that I thought it would. I can't stop because I feel like this is more work than I thought it was going to be, and I don't feel like doing this anymore. We have to be willing to stay the course, and we have to be willing to keep going in spite of what we're feeling. Because there are going to be times, listen, I got to drink a Celsius sometimes just to get stuff done because I don't feel like it. I'm tired sometimes, but you have to get in your mind that I'm committed to this thing. And I don't want to be a woman who quits every time something gets rough or something gets hard or something makes me uncomfortable or something doesn't look the way that I thought that it would. We have to get to a place where we say, I am all the way in. God, I'm giving you my yes. And my yes is not just for the beginning. It's to see this thing all the way through to the end. And as we are considering that, we know what it is. We're going to have some things that may look differently than what we thought this initial plan may be. But at the end of the day, we are committed to seeing it through because we know that we have purpose. We know what it is that's been placed on the inside of us. We have to see this thing through. We have to fulfill it. We can't allow it to remain dormant because there's too much attached to our yes. The last thing that I want to talk about as far as staying the course is understanding and remembering who you are. There are going to be things as you are pursuing purpose that are going to make you question, am I really supposed to be doing this? Like, who told me? Who told me that I'm supposed to be doing this? Because I don't feel like I am enough, or I don't feel like I am qualified. I don't feel like I'm the person for the job. You have to remember who you are. And this is a necessary part of staying the course, because one of the things that will get you off course, that will get you off track, is your own self deprecating thoughts. It's those thoughts that make you doubt, am I really supposed to be doing this? I feel like there are other people who have done it, and how I'm supposed to do it, or what I feel like God is telling me to do, this doesn't really make sense. I don't really understand how this is going to work out. And you start to talk yourself out of it because you feel like you're not good enough. You feel like you're not capable. You feel like you're not the woman for the job. Let me go ahead right here, right now, and shut that down, because just as God gave you the vision for it, just as He spoke it to you, don't allow doubt to now set in and have you question what was originally spoken. For some of you, you need to go back and write down what was the vision, what was the thing that was spoken to you months ago, weeks ago, years ago. What was that thing? And you need to be reminded of how confident you felt when you first heard it, even when you may not have understood it, even when you may not have known how it was all going to come together. There still was some sense of like, okay, I'm going to do this thing. I don't know how, I don't know when, I don't know what it's going to look like, but I'm going to do this thing because God's told me to do it and I have to do it. We have to go back to that place, because time has a way of making you question, did God really say that? Did God really choose me for this? Did God really call me to do this? Yes, the answer is a resilient yes. Absolutely, He did. And don't allow the things that you have faced, don't allow the things that have happened in the meantime. That's a big key right there, because sometimes we will get a word, we'll get a vision, we'll have something that is like, okay, I know this is a God idea. I know this is a God project. I know God told me to do this. And when we have mess ups along the way, when we have things that we didn't mean to do, but it happened, when we have different things that come in, it can be so easy to get into our head. And now we feel like we're disqualified. We feel like, well, now I'm not good enough. I'm unworthy because X, Y, or Z happened since this happened. I love that the God that we serve, that we can go before Him. When we go before Him with a heart that is genuinely repentant, He not only forgives us, but He also makes us new. And some of us don't even realize that we're still carrying around the old baggage of our shame, of our guilt. When we've been made new, you don't have to walk in the old anymore. And so I need you to understand and remind yourself of who you are. You are still chosen. Catch this. You are still chosen in spite of the choices that you made. And you got to take hold to that, because some of you are still wrestling with your purpose and you're not walking in it because of choices that you made that you feel like disqualified you. Let me go ahead and clear that up for you right now. You are still chosen in spite of the choices that you made. You still have a purpose in spite of the choices that you made. God can and will still use you in spite of the choices that you made. And I need you to understand that, because that is what is the hang up for some of you. What has caused you to not stay on the course is that you're so focused on what you didn't get right. You're so focused on the different choices that you've made that led to some consequences. Let's call a thing a thing. But at the end of the day, it has not changed who God says you are. It has not changed what it is that He's called you to and what He has chosen you for. And I need you to walk in that thing. I need you to stay the course, because it's necessary, even for other women, to see like, okay, I didn't get it right, but I got back up again and I figured it out and I put one foot in front of the other. Don't allow shame or guilt or condemnation to be the reason why you stay off course from your purpose. Get back on track. Get back on the course. Remember who you are and remember who God called you to be, because there's still purpose in you and you have not lost that because of the different choices or decisions that you made. There is still purpose on the inside of you, and you have to be reminded of who you are, and you have to stay the course. All right. I hope that this was encouraging for you all. Please stay the course. There is work to be done, and I don't want you to miss what God is doing specifically in this season because you are off course. No, ma'am, we're not doing that. Get back up again, get back on track, get in alignment, and be who God called you to be. All right, I hope you all have an amazing week. Until next time, don't forget, be whole, be healed, and be authentic. And make sure that you sign up for the 7 days surrendering to the process challenge. We are starting that on Monday. You don't want to miss it. I'll be sending emails each day of something that we are surrendering to and just encouragement and advice to truly just surrender to the process and allow yourself to be who God created you to be. All right, I hope you all have an amazing week. Bye. Thank you for tuning into a Change of Heart podcast. I hope you were encouraged, and please take a moment to share with a girlfriend. Also, I'd love to connect with you. You can follow me on Instagram at @AngelSharon_ and at A Change of Heart podcast. And don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel at Angel Sharon. Have an amazing week, and until next time, don't forget, be whole, be healed, and be authentic.